Welcome to Hot Takes. This is the show called Hot Takes, where we talk about music, we talk about ideas, we talk about friendship. We have some sometimes spicy takes on it. It's always punching up. We do not encourage punching down. I am your co-host, Skeleton Lipstick, and this is the other co-host, Young Shiro. The chat is below. You can type letters into that box. That's a gray box that says send chat, and you hit it, and it will actually put the things that your thoughts in your mind into text, and you'll place it into that screen. We have a few commands. If you hit command XY, a giant Lego version of Young Shiro appears on the screen and breathes fire. If you type the command XXY, up, down, BA, start, you can complete Young Shiro's finishing move. And if you type in the ABACABBA command X*5, that's how you enter the secret stage, what we refer to as the star stage and Hot Takes. And try those out right now. I encourage you all to do that on your computer button machine, aka keyboard. And also on Hot Takes, we have a guest. And the guest will come on and we will speak to them about a subject of interest of your choice. So you have whoever puts in the best subject of interest, whether that be hot dogs or tabletop tennis or possibly vases. Whoever can type it in right now, that's all we're going to talk about. And the show is now 8 hours long. Thank you.
Oh,
and free Palestine.
That's right. Please. And free Palestine. You heard it on Hot Takes. That was beautiful. Thank you very much. Air horn for you.
So Shiro told me I should introduce the show today because usually he does. And that's what happens when you put me in charge of that. So just remember to try that secret stage on Hot Takes.
You're going to have to do it from now on because that was just so fantastic. I can't top that.
Just let me do it once in a while. They should know when it's coming.
We got a lovely guest for you tonight.
MP3
they typed in the commands. Shout out MP3 Neptune. We got MiniDisc.wiki. Short stuff.
The secret stage is actually like Final Fight, where you have to the bonus rounds where you break apart the car, and you smash it.
Oh yeah, where that fucking car just gets the shit rocked out of it. That's right.
It's a version of Dan Mason,
Oh my god. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. So that's right. Welcome to Hot Takes, guys. New and old. We got a very special guest. Short stuff from the MiniDisc.wiki project is going to be joining us tonight. She's a beloved server member and mod, and a very active member of the community. Worked in great effect setting up the recent I2K show with Roche Corp and Van Gogh on behalf of Vapor VA Events, and just an all-around fantastic individual who is pretty much the face of the MiniDisc Wiki project. So can't wait to get to know Short Stuff a little better tonight. And then the commands, of course, that are exactly as Skelly described them. But we got two new updates. Lux already typed in the vapes. The exclamation point Vaporade will now link to the VOD on Dom McLennan's Twitch from the most recent Vaporade live broadcast hosted by Dom McLennan and Quiz. So it's been highlighted, and it was a great night. It was a great night. And of course, it's highlighted as a Twitch VOD, so you guys can check that out. And then the updated exclamation point shirt command will allow you to purchase a T-shirt with a full lineup designed by BFant. So get your shirts. There actually is a 20% off code. I believe it's the password. I could be wrong. I'm going to double check. If anyone, Quiz perhaps knows if it's otherwise. If it's not the password, let me know. Yeah, it's the password in all caps. So before we let the time get away from us, just want to start off with a few recommendations tonight, courtesy of me, then a hot take by Skelly, and then we'll get into the night with our guest. So I'd like to bring to everyone's attention a handful of Vaporwave albums, and in true Shiro fashion, two of which are easy, introductory, bread and butter, and then I'm going to challenge you a little bit with a third recommendation. So they're not new releases. I was just kind of...
That we solve a puzzle to get to it?
Do we have to solve a puzzle? No, I don't want to make this any harder. I'll put you on.
I'm not room last third rec.
Escape. I like that. I was just joking around with Skelly about how he's a lot better with keeping up to date with the new releases. Myself, not so much, unfortunately. I tend to just kind of recommend what I find as I find it. And so, I want to start off with a release that I overlooked, but that I definitely regret overlooking, and that's 18 Karat Affair's Body Double. You wouldn't think that I would be admitting that I had not heard one of 18 Karat Affair's entries in his discography, but in fact, I had never listened to Body Double, it being his most recent release. I was all caught up on the back catalog and just kind of slept on it. Couldn't tell you why. It's kind of rare for me to praise an album like this because, admittedly, I'm not a huge fan of super short tracks. I really like tracks that breathe a little bit, but the entire thing just it almost kind of plays like a Signal Wave album. It's like a bunch of lost translations and broadcasts. It plays like a bunch of just strange, half dreamt, like synth noodling escapades, and I very much enjoyed it. It's very long, but it's very worth, and it's just fun. It's just a fun experience. I'd love to see a visual album of it if such a thing existed. So if you like Vaporwave, I won't call it Signal Wave. It's absolutely not Signal Wave, but if you like that kind of stuff, just experimental Vaporwave, check out 18 Karat Affair's Body Double. He's a godfather in the scene. I want to recommend a classic Vapor / late night lo-fi album that was released back in 2016. I don't think it's a secret that everyone's got their favorite Vaporwave subgenres, and late night lo-fi is probably my favorite. And there's a handful of artists that just do it really well, and one of those artists is Trademarks and Copyrights, who did a trilogy of albums called Marble Girls. And I'd like to shout out the very first entry. It was released on Lost Angles. Now, it's since been re-released as a physical with all three, but I want to specifically shout out the original Marble Girls album. Arctic Contact re-released it. Shout out Arctic Contact. Marble Girls just does loungy, sample-based Vaporwave really, really well. There's one particular track in there, Chris, that's like, it's all just katakana, but I swear to God, it's a proto Barber Beats track. I don't know. Were they making Barber Beats in 2016? I feel like that's a little
Vaporwave in 2016.
It's a track that's it works. It's just, I don't know. It's got that echo. It's got that like kind of electronic lounge sound to it, and it's just Trademarks and Copyrights. Marble Girls is not a skippable album in my opinion. If you claim to like late night lo-fi. Or Barber Beats, really, because not all of it sounds like Barber Beats, but there's some tracks on there that really do, and that's the kind of Barber Beats I kind of fuck with. So check it out. And then lastly, I want to put in a recommendation to a Vapor-adjacent album, but an artist who kind of dovetails within the Vaporwave scene, and that's an artist called W. Bayer. Not sure if you're familiar with W. Bayer, Chris. I feel like if you're not, you'd probably like them.
I'm not familiar.
They make like kind of dream punk adjacent, like instrumental hip hop. Just honestly, it's hard to classify and like put their music under a genre, but it's definitely like experimental. Yeah, W. Bayer, Nyoka, Baer. They've released a couple things on, I don't know, some of the like dream punk and more like hard vapor albums, and the one particular release I'm going to name drop is called Seeking. It is Pyramid Blood is the name of the label that released it. I can't remember if Pyramid Blood is like vapor adjacent, but it's kind of crazy when you look at these discogs. You'll see like a vaporwave artist on there, and then a bunch of like just experimental people. But if you like ambient music, kind of morose, like along the lines of the more experimental, but like emotional electronic music, check out W. Bayer's Seeking. And that's all I got for you guys tonight. What do you got for our hot take, Chris?
Okay, so let's go for the hot take. So, one thing, so I got into, sometimes I get into different ways of different forms of making art once in a while. Obviously, one I got into recently was photography, 35 millimeter. Now, when I wanted to get into that, I kind of approached it the same way that I approached producing music, which is that, of course I learned some basic things first, but then the next thing I really did was I went back and I listened to a lot of artists I like. I listened to music I like, a lot of albums that I wanted to sound like, or I felt would be influential on me and what I wanted to make. And then after I would like digest a lot of that, I would go back and then I'd be like, okay, let me just try and do this myself. Let me see about struggling through it, and it doesn't come out right away. And then eventually, it doesn't come out at all like what they sound like. It comes out like you. But the point that I'm trying to say is that when I got into photography, I did the same thing. I went and I looked up different photos, different photo shoots that looked interesting. I figured out who did those photo shoots. I looked up. I went and bought photo books by these photographers, and I would just go through them and look at them. And then I would say, okay, well, now I want to do something. I want to shoot something. And I feel like this is really important because one thing I noticed with photography and a lot of people who were doing it was that they didn't do that. That what they did was that they looked on YouTube and they looked up tutorials on how to do everything. And they would just type in how to get the best lighting. And I think that this is a problem in general with everything lately, is that it's become too much of a YouTube tutorial culture, which is fucking boring and dumb and irritating. And that's not how you become an artist. You cannot become an artist by just looking up tutorials on how to do something. In fact, you should avoid that. And instead, you should find the artists that you like, look at what they're doing, consume the art, and then try and do it yourself, because you're not going to do what they do, because you're not going to be as good as them. So you're going to do something else. And then eventually what you're going to do is you're just going to get better at doing that something else. And then you become you. You find your voice. So like, this is absurd.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get away from this garbage YouTube tutorial culture because you're not original. You're watching the same fucking video by some hack that everybody else has watched to get the best lighting or to do the best sound or to do the whatever. This is ridiculous. But we have to get away from that. You can't be an artist if all you do is consume tutorials. You have to look at art. Look, you can look at the art or listen to the art or whatever, and then if you get stuck somewhere, you can look up a specific thing. But you have to struggle through it. You can't just try and copy the fucking 10-minute YouTube tutorial. This is ridiculous. It is creating a culture of hacks and just it's very, very annoying. We gotta stop doing that. And I find that to be not the way that you do this. And I think that it's like, if you can't write a book unless you read a bunch of books first. And it should be viewed that same way, with the other forms of music or photography or whatever. But you got to consume art if you want to be an artist. You cannot just look up 10-minute videos or how-to things to do things. It's just not the way it's done. And it makes you derivative and it makes you a hack. So I don't like it.
I don't like it.
You can look up specific things when you get stuck, but you can't only do that. You know what I mean?
Yep. Buddy, are you on your phone or a computer? Or...
Phone?
You're kind of muffled a little bit.
Yeah. I know why.
Do you have a case on your phone?
I've got to move that.
Yep. Sorry. Don't want people to not be able to hear the words of wisdom.
It was steadying my phone. That's the only reason I use it.
Good man. Yeah, let's do that so people can hear you better. Absolutely agree. I mean, you're not going to get good at something without kind of finding your.
Get good at it. You can get good at being a hack.
Damn. Well, hey, it sounds like that.
Or do it ironically, and just like that's your thing, is that you are like you're like an ironic version.
On an ironically bad artist.
It's like copy this, which is like legit too. You know what I mean?
Facts. Yep. Well, you guys have waited long enough. It sounds like we need to go ahead and bring on tonight's guest. Maybe see what they think about that take. Again, Short Stuff 888. Well-loved, active, longtime member of the community and one of our mod team members, that is, has their own MiniDisc.wiki project documenting, showcasing, promoting the MiniDisc form of physical media. Not only that, but if you've ever seen Short Stuff at local shows, she typically has mini discs available either to sell or often just to give away, because she makes her own mini discs quite frequently for special events, and mods a 1,900 member strong server on Discord, all dedicated to mini discs. So with all that behind us, let's go ahead and bring on Tiffany from the MiniDisc.wiki project. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, it's nice to be here.
There she
How's it
is.
going?
Yo, look at that aesthetic background too. with the flamingo tapestry and the palm tree. Let me see if I can zoom out so they can see the collection of mini discs you have. The mini disc players behind you.
And a camera. Can't forget the mini disc camera.
Whoops! I accidentally moved the wrong thing.
Let's see the mini.
That's insane. And so like obviously we'll want to hear what you think about what Skelly said, but those are rewritable, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's nutty. Let me zoom out.
Bowling. Yeah, no, they're rewritable up to 1 million times. Theoretically.
1 million times?
Yeah. So you can rewrite them. There's
Gosh,
no degradation of sound.
There we go. There we go. So now y'all can kind of see that little collection behind her a little bit.
I fell.
Yeah.
It's very precarious there. I try to have it displayed there. But yeah, it's a rewritable format. It was Sony's answer to replacing the cassette. It sort of takes like how a CD is, how it's like, a digital format, and then combines it with, the rewritable, the mixed disc quality of,
Nice.
cassette. Like, because it's hard to say mixed discs. It's
mixed disc.
Mixed tape. Yeah, mixed tape is better.
That's smart.
Mixed disc.
Facts.
Yeah, I guess that's why I never caught on. But mixed tape, it's like MiniDisc was really like very big with like rewritable. Like in the beginning, there was pre-recorded discs that were pressed. They weren't using the same rewritable format, so those are a lot harder to find. They're not as popular, but the main format is all rewritable. So.
Hell yeah! Is it lossless?
No, it is not lossless. It is a lossy format. It uses 8-track for the compression, which is actually still used in Sony PlayStation to this day. So
no shit.
Yep.
What? I had no idea.
So
well, I'm gonna center you back up real good. Yeah, that's badass. Thank you for showing us that collection. Let's go. Let's go ahead and dive in. Just a reminder to the people in chat. Please save all your questions for short stuff to the end of the top of the hour, where we'll be hearing a special message from Quiz. But yeah, let's let it ride.
Okay, so I have a question. Did you always have an interest in audio formats and the ways that music is transmitted? Did you have a collection of cassette tapes when you were a kid? Did you start off cataloging things? Like, what's your relationship been with music media in general? What's kind of the first tape or CD that you remember getting?
So the first, I would say, when I was in middle school, I actually hated music. I hated music.
All music.
I didn't ask you about the music thing. I assumed, and we should
Damn.
get right to the formats. So go on. Well, then tell why did you hate music?
Because I was only, when I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Virginia, so when all my music tastes was exposed to was country music, so I didn't even like it. But
of course, yeah.
Somebody had introduced me to the Eminem Curtain Call, the hits in 9th grade. They gave me the CD, and yeah, so like I remember like back in the 90s or actually early 2000s where you could do mail order catalogs. You can get them for like a penny. I got so many.
Holy shit!
Yes. Yeah, that's
for that. Yeah, I used to pour over those all the time. I'd get them in like the middle of Spin magazine. You'd pull out the cardboard and you could look at all the different albums. I would think about
all
which ones
stamps.
I get. I would think about which ones I would get if my parents would like let me do this. Yeah.
Yeah, so it hasn't always been like a fascination with it. It was just sort of, that was like the cheapest way for me to get music because I lived in the country, middle of nowhere. There really wasn't. It was like 30 minutes to go to the nearest Walmart, so it was very rural. It was the only way I could get music was that way. So I had dial-up, but God, that took forever. I didn't really download anything. I just listened to stuff I would buy there, but. I would say that's probably where it started. I didn't really have like a fascination with cataloging and all that. This whole thing started because of my friend Kieran, Special K. He had a mini disc growing up. He actually traded that for an iPod video. He didn't like it, so he went back to mini disc.
Wow.
And then he went to like Japan in 2019 and got like a mini disc player and started getting back into it. And I was like, and I had never heard of mini disc, just like most Americans. We haven't heard what is that format? Like that a mini
Yeah.
CD? And it's not that. It's a totally different, it's a magneto optical format, but it wasn't something I had ever seen, but it looked so vaporwave. It was just so it was like CD quality. Oh, not okay, I take that back. It's not quite CD quality, but it's the way that the compression format is for 8-track. It's very like you can't tell when they've taken parts out, except that that's what they do in order for it to fit onto the format is to take parts that the human ear can't really hear and then record it onto MiniDisc. But yeah, the format is just I don't know. I love the aesthetics. I've always been into vaporwave. It fit, and I was like, you know what? I want to get back to that because I didn't like Spotify. I was never somebody who streamed a lot. I just like would download
I
music
feel
and listen
that.
to on my computer.
Never a big Bandcamp or SoundCloud girl.
Well, so like when I started getting into vaporwave, yeah, I would buy music just to support the artists because I know they're smaller and they need the money rather
Yeah,
than
yeah.
somebody who's like big, like Eminem. I'm paying a penny for his CD. He's not getting any of that. So,
What got you into vaporwave?
oh man, I love the story. So there was a YouTuber named Brandaniel Reeds. Brandaniel Reeds, he did a lot of you might have heard of him. He does a lot well, like back in 2016 when I found it. He was doing a lot of 4chan like green text stories. He did like
Okay.
he did a lot of voiceovers. So he was doing a lot of voiceovers, but he also like streaming on Twitch. And I would watch his Twitch, and he asked the audience. He's like, I want to listen to something. What should I listen to? And somebody had linked, Floor Shop, but I was just like, oh, what is this? Before I had never heard of vaporwave, and when I clicked on it. And then I saw like in the sidebar was Anthony Fantano's review of the album, and I was just like, oh, whoa, what is this? And it unlocks something for me. So yeah, it was like a
Nice.
random comment in a Twitch stream.
From a YouTuber.
Yeah, from a YouTuber who
Wild.
did like 4chan voiceovers for green text and read the whole B movie script.
Unreal.
So yeah, he does a lot of voice acting.
Did
But
he
yeah,
like the album?
I don't remember. It's just something
Yeah.
about I clicked on it. It like connected with me because I always I like the 80s like styles and
Oh, very
whatnot.
cool.
But it just like when I got into vaporwave, it was like this is for me. I was looking for this. I didn't have like an answer growing up because I wasn't really exposed to a lot of media. I guess being
Same.
in a very rural area, but just like seeing all the aesthetics, I don't know, it just clicked with me. I didn't even.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
an
I didn't even.
abstraction of the 80s, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the 80s now,
Yeah.
like filtered through some surreal, some spirally.
It's like somebody telling you about the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like somebody telling. It's like an alien telling you about the 80s who like
Yeah.
saw it and tried to explain
Right.
it to you.
Bruh.
Yeah. I mean, that's all about vaporwave, but there's a lot about the the things being translated into some obscure version of like a memory. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and the mini disc is really a great medium for vaporwave, considering what it is. A defunct technology that promised a lot of things and then was immediately replaced by MP3 and digital and streaming, and like never was able to live up to what the expectations were for it, and to the point where people don't even remember it. But it is like so fascinating, and I also love the fact that it does have its own it's like when you put it in the mini disc, like it's solid. You hold it,
Yeah.
and it's got a case to it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it's just this strange piece of technology, and it's like it comes from a different version of a reality we could be in. Like there's a version, like a timeline, where the mini disc player
It really is.
didn't have didn't fail. You know what I mean?
It's an alternate timeline, literally.
Which is what's so fun about when purchasing the albums on minidisc is it's like you are purchasing something from a different version of reality.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's what I love about it.
That's a perfect way to describe it. Oh, yes.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's like the thing is I was never exposed to it. I never heard of it. I only heard like CDs, cassettes, and then like this whole thing like existed. And it was very popular, maybe not in the US, it was very popular in Japan and Europe. But a lot of that was because they didn't do marketing in the US. It was because MiniDisc is so easy to record onto that the RIAA was afraid of it.
Yeah,
So
I
they
bet.
nerfed. So
Yeah.
they were just like, "Hey, let's not really promote this format." And that's sort of, I guess, the American, extensionism we want to get there, like, or exceptionism. Sorry, is that if it doesn't exist in the U.S., it doesn't exist at all. So
I had a mini disc player growing up, and I remember the way I had used it was that when Jimmy Eat World had come out with their self-titled album, at that time was called Bleed American, with the middle on it, that big album, and like they were streaming it on their website, I guess, but they hadn't released it yet. And I used my mini disc player to record it off of the website.
Wow.
I got like a
Hardcore.
great version of a mini disc player, so I would listen to it on my mini disc player, and it sounded, it sounded great.
Meanwhile, this whole time before I got to know her, I thought she was talking about those little CDs that got popular in the
No.
early 2000s. Yeah, I'm sure you hear
Oh,
that
you mean
all
like
the
the
time.
Locusts released their first album on one of those mini
Yeah,
CDs,
they did, and then all the GameCube games. I'm sure you've heard that enough times.
Oh,
But
and the Yandi.
No,
Don't even get me started on Yandi.
And what is that?
Don't
So-
even get us started. I love the mini disc though, and I love that it has its own encapsulated shell that protects
Yeah.
this strange technology within it.
It's such a cool medium, and it is so interesting to print on it because it's so left field. Because it's once again, like,
Who else really puts out mini discs aside from the vaporwave community, right?
Right.
Well, let me ask you that question.
Japan
But
never
actually,
tings that
let
we're
me
going
ask
to
you
like
that
those
question.
things.
Who
And we
else
always
puts
do.
out mini disc. Is it just the vaporwave community?
No, so I mean, it's a lot of vaporwave adjacent, but there have been other smaller indie labels. It's a lot of it on Bandcamp. Gosh, I can't think of the name. There's Needle Juice. Needle Juice actually worked
Neil
with us.
Juice, I was released my album on vinyl, so
Yeah.
and they've released actually a lot
Yeah,
of other.
they got
vaporwave
great
stuff,
taste.
so-
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
even Needle Juice, still tangentially associated with the vaporwave scene. I've released my record on their label, and then I think that like Chinese Hackers has some albums on there as well. So
yeah, and
it probably
like
got it.
Lemon Demon. So many Lemon Demon reissues. But no, they Brandon.
Love Brandon, by the way. Such
Yeah.
a cool guy. I love Brandon. He's so
I met him at Econ 3, and we started
I did too,
talking.
yeah, that's when I first met him.
Yeah, and we
Is that the
started
Needle
talking.
Juice guy?
Yes.
the Needle
Okay,
Juice guy.
sorry.
He's
Thank
one
you.
of the guys.
Can talk
asking
to you
the
about
questions.
record. Can talk to you about physical media all day long.
He
Sick.
knows everything. He's such a cool guy.
Yes, and like he helped us release our 30th anniversary disc, which was unfortunately I should have brought that. But I mean, it was like 500 copies. So it's just a blank disc, but it had her design on it. We sold 500 copies of a blank disc
Woo!
in celebration of, yeah. So it was like, and I still get like DMs to this day, like, when is it gonna be re-released? And it's just like, well, that was a one and done celebration. I mean, like, it could be something in the future. We could release something. There's nothing. We haven't planned anything like that. But it was like the 30th anniversary. It was like the big, wow, 30 years of MiniDisc. We better, do something. And Brandon reached out to us. That was also how I connected with him to do my interview on SiriusXM. I did that last year.
What?
That's
Sick.
what I wanted to ask.
I know that.
I wanted to get to that. Oh, well, one of my questions I wanted to get to you about was like,
How did that come about? Well, so how could you explain how that came about exactly? Because I know you did get that interview on SiriusXM. That was crazy.
Yeah.
How did you get linked up with that?
So they were in talks with Needle Juice, and they said, hey, they want to do this interview about MiniDisc. Are you interested? I was like, yeah, because they were also interviewing. They did My Pet Flamingo. Who else did they do? Was it Mesh? I think it was him as
Damn,
well.
they had
who
like
was on there.
several people. That's badass.
Yeah, it was
I
a
didn't
lot
know
of
that.
people. It was, but it was a 4-episode podcast. It was called
Sick.
Obsolete. And it was talking all about the history of the mini disc and like what the future of mini disc is now, and like talking about how vaporwave has made it like a big thing nowadays. But yeah, that was exciting to say. I've been on SiriusXM, like, and I'm on Hot Takes, which is like, the premier podcast.
Ah, you're too kind.
Oh, too
we
nice.
think we're pretty big fans.
Yeah.
That's badass. I wonder, like, do people still have like Betamax players and shit? Like, this can't be the only.
There's any sort of like dead format, unless, I don't know, I guess 8-track, I'm sure there's a community there, but there's always a lot of communities for these retro formats. I would say a lot of like connection would be the iPod community.
Yeah,
a lot
true.
of people,
People will like refurbish old iPods.
yeah, and like Dank Pods, which I'm waiting for a Dank Pods mini disc episode. If you're out there, please.
Damn, okay.
That would be
Dank
so
Pods.
cool.
Go on
Yeah.
MiniDisc.wiki.
I just love the mini disc format in general because it's just so the other formats are great, and there are all the other dead formats are great too. But just mini disc is so emblematic of like a Y2K aesthetic, which is why it feels so. Because and that's why you just and it's emblematic of it too, in that it only exists in that time, and the technology is so Y2K. Do you know what I mean? It's practically like mini disc and like that robot dog.
Very
you know what
fruity
I mean?
era.
Yes.
So like it's just it's just ironic because when you make something so emblematic of like a very specific type of like time period aesthetic, it kind of makes it almost timeless. Do you know what I mean? Because it only exists at this certain time, and I love that it like stands upon this like this it's right at the crossroads of like digital and like and like physical. You know what I mean? Like it's the last really interesting like format really happy for people kind of stopped really dealing with new versions of media. You know what I mean? Like people obviously like what happened? I mean, after the mini disc, was there any other real new version of a physical media medium for music?
I guess there was SACD, the super. It's supposed to be like a higher fidelity CD.
Ooh.
Yeah, but that's still a CD though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, for a while in the like mid to late 2000s, they were putting like albums on thumb drives. Remember, the Mars Volta put an album on a USB drive.
I do remember that, but that was still just a thumb drive. You know, I was already used to thumb drives, but like there was like what else is there where they created their own system for recording the music, for playing the music?
Oh, okay, true. I see what you mean.
Like this was like we're gonna try one new revolution in music, and then that's it after the mini disc. I mean, because I remember I had a mini disc player, but then after that, I was going on like my streaming websites. I was on SoulSeek. Like I was onto MP3s at this point. Like there's nothing after that I can think of that that tried to challenge the idea of a new way of listening. Like I remember, since I'm a little bit older, like I remember cassette tapes, but then cassette tapes were replaced by CDs, and like that was how you listened to music. There's a new medium every few years, obviously, right. And like, but then like, then you saw MiniDisc come along, and then
it was the iPod. I mean, that's
right. Then I'm on the iPod. I'm on the iPod. After that was the iTunes store, and now we are just doing new versions of listening to digital versions of music. Non-format versions of non-physical format versions of music, and that's why the music is so fascinating and so interesting.
Yeah, and it definitely preserves the art of listening to the album rather than just like whatever, like the track, like a single track. Because like you have to, I mean, like that's the thing with like physical media. It's like very purposeful. You're like, what album am I going to listen to today?
You're making like a blatant decision to like give that physical piece of media your undivided attention.
Yeah, and then like you put it's a tactile thing. It's not like the thing with like streaming. It's very mindless. It's like there's not a lot of intention, and you sort of put it on, you listen to it, it becomes like background noise. But like physical media, whether could be CDs, tapes, 8-track, whatever. I mean, vinyl, it doesn't matter. It's like the physical act of like, I'm gonna listen to this artist today. I'm gonna listen to this album. And yes, you can do the same thing with like, on Spotify. But if you have Spotify free on mobile, you can't listen to a whole album. It's just a playlist
without a bunch of ads.
Yes, and I don't use Spotify, premium, so it's like anytime I want to listen to anything with Spotify,
I'm guilty as well.
I listen to an ad, and then I gotta, then
definitely
it gives
hitting
me
the
a
shuffle
playlist.
button on Spotify. Not gonna listen to like an album with like a seamless, every track flows into the other type of experience with a fucking ad in between. Yeah.
Ugh. Awful.
So, like, are they still making mini disc players, or like, is there like a limited quantity of ways to listen to them?
Yeah. So the official format was sunset in 2013. So it lasted from 1992 to 2013.
Wow.
Now, I think TAC, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably butchering it. TAEC. They were actually producing a deck until I think 2020, which is but surprising. But Sony officially dropped support for 2013. So unfortunately, no, they are not making new players. So it is a finite format.
That's because that's the thing that kind of.
That would be like my ultimate goal for like the MiniDisc.wiki is like getting a modern like player or recorder.
Right.
It's like we're sort of it's because like there's like we can't like the CD or the cassette tape, the how do I pronounce or put it? It's the We Are Rewind cassette decks. The orange ones are like metal, and they all use the same mechanism inside. They're all like the same not great mechanism. So like yeah, you can get a modern like cassette tape player, but
they're usually not great, huh?
They're not great, yeah. So
really?
It's unfortunate.
I wouldn't like if I could do that with the wiki, like get a modern. I would not, it's a different format. It's not like as easy to do it. That's why there's not like, players today, like new players. But that would be the ultimate goal. Now there is a project by one of the he does sometimes he does development for the Web MiniDisc Pro, but he's also been recreating the RH1 OLED screens because like there's a problem with that particular player. They're very they're like high ND, so it's a different format. It used a 1 gigabyte disc instead of regular MiniDisc. But the screens are OLED, and after 20 some years, because they came out in the later mid 2000s, they're dying. So there's actually now there's like a new project birthed from the wiki that there's replaceable screens out because they had to reverse engineer how the screen worked, which is I don't even begin to understand it. They're geniuses. We have
they can just take it apart, make a replacement part that's modern, and drop it in.
It's the code. It's like how to display the text. It was so hard because like Sony is Sony, and they don't do things. They don't. Yeah, they don't.
I'm literally dealing with that right now. I just bought a PSP from someone in the Hot Take server, and it's like the aftermarket batteries suck dickhole, dude. And there's so many like random things wrong with trying to use archaic, not even archaic, but like a form of media from, you guessed it, the 2000s. That only has one way to like experiencing it. Yeah. Which is also ironically Sony PSP, right? And it's just like somebody eventually will need to make, out of passion, I guess, some sort of modern variant of the MiniDisc player or the PSP in my case, that like plays that media and doesn't like suck actual dick.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with that is that Sony is very litigious, and I don't know about the patents, about like I don't know if they're expired, like that's a whole different conversation. I mean, I would love, like, that would be if I just don't want these to die because they're the hardware eventually will die. It's just time. I mean, the oldest MiniDisc player is now 32 years old.
Wow,
that's a long time for
do the MiniDiscs like last a while? Like they don't get disc rot like CDs, do they?
No, they don't really have a problem with CDs. I mean, I have had an occasional bad disc, but that's very rare.
That's good.
It's very rare that you'll come across like a bad disc. I mean, that's not to say like maybe 5 years from now they all just have like end of life, they all just start dying. But as of right now, in 2024, no, I mean they're still good. Discs that were recorded in the early 90s can still be played to this day, so there's no disc rot.
That's it's really interesting. I really do believe that like the MiniDisc.wiki and like this whole that community is probably very good for the vaporwave community, probably very good for introducing people to the vaporwave scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people who just have an interest in this sort of like obscure defunct technology, or just like the history of music mediums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna go to the MiniDisc.wiki, and the first thing you're gonna see is like all the artists from this particular scene that have used the format and used the format successfully. I don't really think that there's ever been a MiniDisc that's come out and not sold out like immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
I mean, it also helps that they're released at 30 batches, 30 discs at a time. So
That's true. They are released a 30 batch at a time. I forget.
Well, it's because like if you want to get like a CD or a mini disc recorded, you can go to band CDs. That's where everybody in vaporwave, little
I
smaller.
was going to ask, where do they do
labels.
that? Band CDs?
Yeah, band CDs. That's the go-to. They're fantastic. They do all the UV printing. They do recording. I've one day I'll go to the UK and hopefully get a tour and see how they actually record and print them all, because it's all UV printed. That's, oh man, I wish I could find somebody like in the US that does UV printing for like not expensive.
Oh wow, they only do it over there. That's
yeah,
wild.
I mean, because like UV printer beds are like $25,000 starting. They're expensive hardware. So that's like any, the cassettes or the CDs or mini discs, they're all UV printed.
What is UV printed? What is this? I don't know much about all this stuff.
So the UV printed ones, just have pulled a few here. They're like this one. This is like probably my favorite one, my favorite mini disc. It's by Bathroom Plants, Virtual
nice.
Garage.
Oh, Bathroom Plants, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so it's like UV ink, and they have like
so
a
it's printed
laser.
straight on the mini disc.
Oh,
that's fucking sick.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
This is,
Oh, that's wild. And that's not
this
the
is my
case.
favorite.
That's the mini
This is my
disc.
favorite one.
Correct?
It's like it's so pretty.
And Tiff, it's not in the sleeve, right? That is the mini disc.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the shutter.
It's like the cassettes that have like printing right on the cassette. That's badass.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I have the great esteem of Luxury Elite, and I have the Lipstick Elite album that was pressed on to the thing, the UV printed label like that too.
Oh, I know. I have it right here, and it's
I
signed
didn't
by
know
Lux.
that was on
I
mini
know
disc.
yours is
What?
signed by Lux, too. That's,
How do I not know that?
You didn't know that? Oh,
No, that's
cool.
wild.
the
Wow.
mini disc, because when we released that, when My Pet Flamingo released that.
Oh,
for
she
us,
just said she forgot too. Ah, what a relief.
When My Pet Flamingo released that for us,
it was released on cassette, and it was released on vinyl, and it was released on mini disc, and the mini disc was gone. That was gone within the less
Shout
than
out you for
yeah.
having a copy of that.
less than one day. The mini disc had sold out right away.
Badass.
By
It's
far
signed by
faster than the
Lux.
cassette or the
Aw.
vinyl did.
Yeah, that's her
I
handwriting.
got her.
all right,
I got
that's
her to
sweet.
sign my disc at Econ 3. So that was after her performance. She was, oh man, that performance was fantastic. It was like the first time I had ever seen Lux play live, and that room was so hot.
Oh, the club
and,
stage was awesome.
Woo, yeah, but it was
It was
so
great.
fun.
That was a fun way.
screaming.
That was a fun way to start that day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it
man.
was. I got lucky. I was right up front, so it wasn't terribly claustrophobic. It
Yeah.
also helped that like everyone up front was super short, like me. Like my buddy Danny was up there, B Fant was up there. I was like, this is great. Everyone up here is like 5'4" and shorter. Like,
Yeah, I was like up on the steps or whatever.
oh yep,
It,
yep.
It
off
was
to
right
the side.
between where the beam was, so I had like a
That's where I
direct-
was during Christ's set.
It's
Yeah,
like, why is there a beam there? It's bad
Mhm.
placement for a stage, but
Yeah, like I do believe like the mini disc forum and the mini disc community. I think that's probably a big way that people are maybe even getting into vaporwave nowadays.
Yeah.
I think it's a big conduit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
oh yeah, I mean, like
Cool way for people to get into it. I would love that to be the way that people get into vaporwave is through like
Yeah.
it really helps them not only just understand like
Get into vaporwave, but understand the aesthetics and the sensibilities of the genre.
That's a good
too, you know?
point. I'd love to meet somebody
Right.
that found vaporwave via the
I wanna meet
physical
somebody who's-
form of
and I
media.
bet there are probably a
Oh
lot.
yeah, probably.
Just know them.
well, a lot of that is that would be awesome to hear. Like, oh yeah, I got into Manidis and then I discovered vaporwave, and
That's awesome.
that's
I
yeah.
mean, I'm sure there's a
There-
lot of
there
people
are,
that
I
kind of
guarantee you that.
fetishize like archaic forms of media, but it's kind of baked into the passion
right.
of the genre of music and like culture. Like, of course, there's going to be that little Venn diagram overlap with us. Maybe there's some synthwave mini disc people.
There is, yeah.
Yeah,
Time
there's probably
Slave.
a lot actually.
Time Slave is the sister.
Time
label
Slave
to
does
My
mini
Pet
discs?
Flamingo. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, that sounds. I mean, it makes sense.
There's also a few other Russian mini disc labels. I
Ooh.
think it's New Retro.
New
Wave
retro,
or-
like new retro wave,
I don't think it's New
Everybody
Retro Wave. It's a retro.
because those guys have been around for a fat minute.
There's Russian mini disc people too. Oh, maybe there'll be some wave artists that want to release then. There's
Right,
Russian.
Maybe.
Which house people on mini disc?
Yeah, over in Poland and Russia. That's right. I need
Yep.
to go over there. Looks like they're having a
Yep.
great time.
Oh, the Belarusian witch house mini-disc run of 15.
Them at the raves in Poland, and they're having a great time over there.
Oh yeah.
But
That's what Yovozal's doing right now.
Well, that's a lot of them. Like Barnacle Boy moved out there. Like all kinds of people like
it's fucking
moved
nuts.
to Poland. That's where it's
the place
at.
to be.
Gotta go there.
So
Anyway,
is there like a? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, to your point of like how it'd be great if people discovered vaporwave through MiniDisc. I mean, that's a lot of the reason why I give out MiniDisc at shows. I don't sell them. I give them out. I usually go to a lot of raves. I'm very big into the
very
dubstep
cool.
scene.
Very cool.
And so like I've introduced people who are not even like don't even know what vaporwave is, but I'm just like here's a mix of everybody's playing tonight. They're like, oh my god, what is this? What did you just hand me? And then I hope
you're giving to people at raves, a dubstep
yeah,
rave.
Yeah.
Oh, that's badass. So do you make dubstep mini disc mixes?
Tell Enrail to put out this new album on MiniDisc, please.
Yes, Enrail. Nathan, please.
Enrail will be your conduit from.
Are you talking about the one with the Keith Rankin artwork?
That album is fantastic. I love that new album by him. I think it's totally where like I figured he was gonna go next with his music, and it's so cool. I love that. It's like computer glitch dubstep. I love it. But anyway, so you give them out to the dub. What do they think of the mini discs? They like it?
So they think it's like a floppy disk. They're like, is that a floppy disk you just hand me? I'm like, no, it's a mini disc. Now it's kind of hard to like give my spiel of like this dead format and be like, yeah, so this is a really cool format. It is not CD, it is not cassette, it's a mini disc, and it uses magnets. And like trying to shout that over like loud bass music.
Real shit.
Like... but I do it just because I love people's like face light up. They're like, what did you just hand me? I don't know what this is, but this is the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, man. They're like, I'm really high on ketamine. I really have no idea what this is.
But it's like I feel
that's
like
really
it's
special though.
It's more memorable than just a candy bracelet. Like I have so many
bracelets
I've gotten traded.
It's really memorable. Oh my god! And who would forget that? It's crazy.
Yeah, and I've given mini discs to artists as well. I've given mini discs to Ray Volpe a couple times. I've given them to Eptic. A lot of big dubstep artists
so
have
cool.
gotten my mini discs. So I'll meet up with them like, hey, I made this for you. They're like, what is this?
Oh my god, that's
wow.
so funny.
So I try to
funny. I love that.
They're just like, I have no idea what this is, because like it's funny that dubstep is really not a physical like base.
No,
they're not
or like
physicals.
even albums. Really, it's all singles and maybe an EP every once in a while.
EDM in general is not a physical based
music.
Because I guess like at the end of the day, most of that derives from like SoundCloud, and that's what I think where the first wave of artists probably got their start, was getting a hit on SoundCloud and being recognized by like a larger producer from there. Just never really was a thing they did, you know what I mean? And also at the end of the day, like, that is a producer at the computer based music, and ironically, it's just they never really got into. I just and like the fans don't really participate in a lot of physical media in general.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting.
I'm not gonna lie, there are many times when I have had people who are mostly familiar with like the big festival rave culture who've wanted to know about DJing, and they've asked me about how you DJ. And the first question they ask me is, particularly the younger ones who are like maybe are just mostly used to going to like Lost Lands or big festivals like this, right? What they'll say to me is,
shout out Lost Lands.
One of my questions to you was actually going to be, what's the next music festival you're going to?
Lost Lands.
Nice.
Of course, you should come down to Philadelphia. Nice. We have hijinks here.
Yeah, I would, but it's like from Pittsburgh. It's like a 6 hour drive.
Oh, you're in Pittsburgh. You're up by John. Okay.
Yeah. Shout out Bryce.
Yeah, she's gone. What? He doesn't go garage sailing per se. Estate sailing.
No, flea markets.
Flea marketing. Yeah. She's gone flea marketing with the guy. I'm so jealous.
Oh yeah, we took like a whole day, just like 5 different like little flea teaks. We went to the big.
The guy always manages to find just these insane hauls.
Yeah, like I got a really cool CD player. I got the Lawnmower Man on DVD, which the Lawnmower Man uses.
That's such a weird movie.
Mind's Eye, which is like my favorite like CGI series.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of rendering from the early 90s in that movie.
Yeah, and I just found a lot of stuff with him. It was just like he has an eye, and it's so, I don't know. He tells me his secrets, but I don't have the eye. He says to focus on shapes and colors, and I'm just like, I can't do it, John. Sorry, I don't have
funny.
the touch.
Oh yeah, I remember asking him like, "Oh hey man, how do you find such good stuff?" And he was like, "Yeah." You could tell he didn't want to tell me really. Yeah, well you gotta go to the estate sale.
Great John impression. That's a great John impression.
I think is he in the chat right now?
Yeah, he is here.
In the chat right.
He's got an eye for it. It's undeniable. He got some. I feel like it was a Nintendo DS. He flipped for like $300 or something crazy.
Oh,
Are you sure you don't want to come to Philadelphia for like hijinks? It's gonna have like Porter Robinson, Red Mouse, Liquid Stranger.
Liquid Stranger's good. I don't.
Prime.
Yeah.
Is this right? From this year? Oh, so okay. Anyway, yeah.
I know, right?
I'm sorry. This is. Wait a second. This looks familiar. No, I think this is last year. Anyway, go ahead. Well, what were we talking about? Dubstep.
Are there a finite number of mini discs, or can people continue to manufacture them?
That's a great question. Yeah.
Oh, no. Sony's actually still producing them to this day.
What a relief.
They still make blanks. Yeah. So they haven't, as far as we know, they haven't stopped. You can still buy brand new on their site. Because it was a lot more popular over there than it was here. I mean, this one, which didn't mean to drop that earlier, but this is one that
oh, that's cute.
That's
so aesthetic looking.
It's so pink. It's MZE 520. It's a player only, but it's rainbow. I love the rainbow.
Wow, love that.
To those of us that are listening on podcasting services, it's a soft metallic bubble gum with like a range of circles. It looks very much like a Windows media player. Like it's really beautiful, very pearlescent.
Yes.
Everyone's mad that I said it looked aesthetic.
It is aesthetic. Mini discs are aesthetic. They are like. I love it.
And somebody has mentioned, Scoob Mahone 84 has mentioned, or somebody else may have mentioned it as well. I've read twice in the chat that DJs occasionally use them for music storage.
Oh. Yes.
At least in the UK. That's very interesting.
I find it very interesting, the UK market, because surprisingly, Minidisc did well over there. It's such a, you wouldn't think that.
That's probably why Kieran was involved.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was in Canada at that point.
Oh, was he? I didn't know that.
But yeah, he's originally from the UK. But no, at that point when he found the Minidisc, he was in Canada. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's such a. I'm so passionate about it because I want people to know that this exists here, and it's not just because it failed. I hate people saying that it failed. It didn't fail. It was too good for its own. It was just too good. It was really easy to record onto.
The Nintendo Virtual Boy. The console was too good.
That's a better way of putting it. It was deferred, really. Like it didn't fail. It just wasn't. It's still a great format. It's just. It wasn't promoted properly. It wasn't given its due. People weren't informed enough about it, and it still exists. Yeah,
and the UK for some reason has like a large following there. Like a lot. Like I look at the analytics of like who follows, the social media pages, and a lot of it's from the UK, which
that's pretty cool. It's probably people that are nostalgic for their childhood and remember having mini discs.
Yeah,
I mean.
Yep. And here's me. I don't have any nostalgia for it, but I see what it is, and I'm very thankful that we can still use it to this day because it's actually easier to record onto mini discs now than when it was officially supported by Sony.
Oh wow, hard.
So I want to say that I like what you just said right there, and this is something I've been trying to say for a long time, and that you don't have to have experienced the nostalgia to still appreciate and re-experience it. Everybody keeps saying, well, I guess the next generation, they'll just do vaporwave of fucking dubstep. No, not necessarily, man. You guys are getting this all wrong. They can go back. The next generation can go back and listen to the 80s and 70s and early 90s music and do their own vaporwave music of it. This is this wrong-headed view that vaporwave
everybody knows that one curly-haired 13-year-old that has a Jim Morrison phase.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's this wrong-headed view of, well, what vaporwave will be is just what the last person's nostalgia. No, 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 no. Vaporwave is specifically, I think, this stuff right here within this like 70s through 90s and maybe early 2000s stuff. And that stuff is still there, and it's more accessible than ever, honestly, if people want it. So they can go back and like, and that's what they do. Like, I meet plenty of artists who are like 19 or 20, and they aren't going back and taking like the, you know, Italo disco songs and slowing them down still. They're not going back and just slowing fucking RL grind. Like that, in the same way that short stuff over here is like, well, she has no nostalgia for the mini disc, but she understands what the interesting thing about it, and that's what got her into vaporwave, and it's associated with that little bubble right there. So like, it's not necessarily nostalgia. However, it is like the nostalgia of a particular time period where there's a lot of a lot of crisis over the movement from physical media to an ambiguous internet digital world, and that's kind of like where vaporwave sort of like has its inflection point.
Yeah.
Just like I don't think I hear that concept too often from people about vaporwave will just be what the next people were listening to. No. This doesn't make no sense.
Van Pogam didn't grow up listening to City Pop, but he discovered it, and he learned to really love it, and he became like an unofficial and sort of quasi-official curator of it.
Yeah, so like there's like exactly like the people who are making like people who make like cold wave music today, and there's like, well, they didn't grow up, they didn't hear like the original stuff that came out in 1980.
Right, for sure.
That's, I mean, it's not cool to, so like, I think that's something I think that I want to, it's just that's the point I want to make. But yes, but that's a good example of it. You did not have the mini disc, but you understood it, and it related to vaporwave for you as well. And anyway, we can continue this conversation now, I guess.
Well, why don't we go ahead, since it's basically the top of the hour, and run a very special message by our good friend Quiz, and then when we come back, we'll take some user-submitted questions. Does that sound good? Let's do that. Yeah. Sounds like we've got a unanimous. All right, so let's.
Yes, it does sound good.
Quiz has some good things to say. Let's hear what he says, and then we'll be back in about 3.5 minutes.
Sorry, I ran out of time for my hair to dry, so I'm just kind of rolling with it. Okay, so. Hi everyone, it's Quiz. I want to talk about a very momentous and an important and laudable occasion that happened, as we all know, happened this past weekend. One that's super important and one I want to take a moment to talk about and give proper importance to and reflect on. I'm talking, of course, about Isaac's birthday. Young SHIRO, or as the Japanese call him, Young White Boy. We all know like what a great guy he is and how he's an awesome DJ and just one of the coolest people around, who just everyone feels comfortable around him and is just extremely beloved by the hot takes and the vaporwave community and everywhere else. But I want to make sure we take a moment and just kind of say, at least for me, I wanted to say like thank you so much for everything you do, Isaac. Just for hot takes and, for everything. I can't even name events because you kind of help, it feels like, with everybody's events in some way, especially in like promoting them, which a lot of people, could learn a thing or two from how much you just support other people. But anyway, you were just an awesome guy. And I want to say, like, on behalf of myself, at least, and I'm sure like the entire hot takes community and everyone who's tuning in now or in the VOD or in the podcast, like, thank you so much for everything that you do. It's appreciated, it's noticed, and at least for me, like, I would not be the person I am today without calling you my friend. I mean, there's if I may, like, there's one thing that you said that like I think about and I talk about all the time, and I want to make sure people know that you're the one who said it, which is like, when you criticize your own friends or you criticize someone you care about, like, to help them, it's like they have like a piece of spinach like in their tooth, and you're like the one person who tells them, hey man, you got something in your teeth, like, not trying to like upset you or anything, but I'm saying it because I don't want you to go out there, and someone else to be like rude about it or something, or that type of mentality. That literally happened to me last night. And some guy pointed out a stain on the back of my suit, and I would have looked really, really bad. And a bunch of people had seen me before with the stain on the back of my suit and didn't say anything. And one dude told me, and I'm like, yo, this is Isaac's birthday, because it was yesterday, November 24th. And I was like, I love Isaac. That was an Isaac move. That just made my life a little bit easier because someone had, kind of the courage to come up to someone they didn't know well and say, hey, dude, I just want to tell you, look out. And I was so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for you. Like I said, on behalf of all of us, if I may, thank you so much, Isaac. We love you. You rock. Beetlejuice that, bitch.
Okay, so that was super heartwarming. If you guys weren't watching, Quiz sent that to me last minute. And I thought we were going to get a recap of Vaporade Live, which happened, and he got me good. So that was really sweet. Thank you, Quiz. I just try to. He wished me happy birthday, and he he said some really sweet things.
Can we get a happy birthday in the chat for Shiro? Actually,
happy birthday!
You're too kind. I'm older than I was yesterday, but that was really affirming. And without like talking about me during MiniDisc.wiki's episode, as someone who deals with anxiety and depression, it's really affirming to hear sweet things about you. It helps. It really helps the old self-esteem. Anyways, we are into the second half of our show. Thank you again, Quiz, and we're gonna open the floor up to user-submitted questions for short stuff. So guys, fill that chat up with questions about just anything you want to ask us, and we will ask those faithfully. I want to start off, we're going to get some zingers in tonight. What is a cringy behavior in the vaporwave scene that you wish would stop?
Ooh, cringy. To feel like you have to, I don't know, you have to be better than everybody. Like I don't like that mentality, or just like, yeah, you need to listen to my stuff. You can only listen to my stuff because I'm in this certain group. I know it's a lot of personalities and whatnot, but I feel like that's what I don't like. I feel like that's cringe.
You mean like gatekeepy stuff, or like people are just like, oh, your taste is shit, that sort of thing?
Yeah, maybe a little HKE, but
Yikes. Oh, I would love to have that guy on my show.
Yeah, I feel like he would be very interesting on here, but I feel like a lot of things that he does is a little cringe.
Man, I can't wait to ask him about those things. But that's a fair answer, man. I mean, we're trying to all have fun here, right? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
There's no like perfect way to listen.
It's not that serious.
You can listen to your album on shuffle if you want to. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Gosh, we got a lot of questions now. Holy shit, guys.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions.
A lot of questions. MP3 Neptune with our first question of the night. What albums would you like to see officially released on MiniDisc?
Ooh, what a great question. What a great question.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like, let's see. You know what? I would like a mainstream artist to release on the MiniDisc. I don't have a particular one on Vaporwave, but like
Taylor
I feel
Swift
like
MiniDisc.
if I could, yeah, with all her variants, why not MiniDisc? Come on now.
Why
T
not?
Swift. My DMs are open.
Right.
Yeah, like
T Swift should release an album on MiniDisc,
Yeah, that would be my
It's just like an
more
Era
eyeballs.
4 edition MiniDisc.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Great question, and an even better answer. Scoop Mahone 84. If it was one thing you could change about the vaporwave scene, what would it be? That's a great question.
Ooh.
Channeling Sarah, more deodorant, more people of color, and more deodorant.
You know what? I feel like this is a very interesting question. I feel like something that would change. I think we need to realize, like, it's okay to make money with live shows.
Okay. Yeah.
Because like a lot of these DIY shows, it's usually out of pocket.
Yes, it is.
Throwing like a festival is super expensive. So if you're at a vaporwave show, please buy a drink.
Yeah, buy drinks, dude. If you go to any show, famously, Groovy Kaiju told me one time, he goes, bro, I don't drink, but I always buy a drink and like give it to somebody or pour it in a plant or something because I want to support.
That's so cool.
And it's just like, yeah, buy a drink, please. Because so many people are going into the red. That's a real good one, Tiff. So many people are going into the red with these shows. you know?
Yeah, I feel like I hope that changes. Like it's okay to make money. Like this, yes, this is definitely a passion project, and sometimes you're like, oh well, vaporwave is what is the anecdote? It's like vaporwave is commentary on
Anti-capitalist or whatever. Yeah.
consumerism, and it's like, okay, yeah, but it costs money to go to these shows. Like I can't tell you how many shows I go to a year. Like, and how many thousands of dollars are probably spent on raves, but I do it
True.
because I know that's how the artists get paid.
It's how you pay back, man. And
Yeah.
as somebody who's been guest listed, I really don't ask to be guest listed. I'm so honored anytime somebody does, but I don't ask for that. Like, y'all, buy a ticket. Don't ask your friend to get you in for free. Come on, don't you want your friend to get paid? And
Yeah.
I understand not everyone has the privilege to do this.
Nothing irks me worse that at like in the nightlife scene in general, where like there's just people who they only go so they can go to someplace for free and stand by the DJ decks, or like, you know, just stand there. They don't dance, they don't participate, and I hate that bullshit.
I mean, I'm not good at dancing, but a drink or two, and I'm going to be acting a damn fool up in front.
They're not there for the music either.
Yeah.
They're not there for the DJs or the performers.
I gotta say, like, Short Stuff and Lux are like the two best examples of people that show up and like never fucking leave the rail. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't know where you two get your energy. Holy shit.
I'm getting, you know, I'm getting my money's worth, okay? And I don't like to be in the back. I mean, it's okay.
You don't have to
check.
I mean, you know.
But I'm there for the artist.
Right.
Like,
I know what you meant, Chris.
I'm talking about people who
I
aren't
know
even
what
there
you
for the
meant.
They're there because they like the fact that they could get in for free.
Like,
and it doesn't...
hey, introverts, we want you there too. We're not talking about you. It's okay to show up and bob your head and stand in the back.
Please,
we want you there
please,
too.
That's like, yeah, go bob your head. Don't just, they're there for the music, you know.
Yeah. It's okay.
You don't have to be a lunatic like me.
Gosh, that was such a great take. So Quiz wants to know, what are some of your favorite mini-disc physical prints or designs?
Ooh, good question. I got a whole stack of discs because
hell yeah.
I was hoping somebody was going to ask me this. So
And I've got you zoomed in kind of really just from like the neck up. Like we can just like barely see that little. Okay,
So,
yeah. There's the
this one,
Oh,
bathroom
wow.
plants
I showed
one.
earlier.
That's so cool. So
Yeah,
beautiful.
So it's
one
covered
is
in
my favorite.
floral designs.
Absolutely
Yeah,
gorgeous.
it's
People that are
bathroom
listening
plants.
in, it's covered
my-
in like a painted on floral design.
It's really like such a cool format.
this
It really
one.
is.
This is another. A lot
I
of
love
these
it.
releases that I got that are really cool designs by Underwater Computing. They make like the best designs on mini discs. A lot of their physical formats are amazing. So I got a
Shout
bunch.
out Underwater Computing.
Yes, shout
Hell
out
yeah.
Underwater Computing. This is another one. This one has like raindrops on the disc.
Wow.
Oh,
That's so
wow.
fucking cool.
Like-
Thanks for the link, Lux.
I'm
That's
just like this one. This one is a Gape Horizons Everdream, and it's a very rainy album. It's very cool. This one, I love going on walks. I mean, it's just like I go on a
Oh, wow.
walk and I listen to this one. It's fantastic.
Hell yeah.
Another. This one was a literal shit post, but this one is it is the Poop Shitter's greatest hits.
What?
It
Oh,
is
it's
like,
the guy from Undertale.
It's
What's
the
his name?
Undertale. It's
Yeah.
Sans?
what's his name?
Yeah,
Sans, that's it,
Sans.
Yeah.
And like in the disc is like it's like cut out so you can see the disc reflecting.
Oh,
Probably it's not
wild
gonna
in
show
his
up on
eyes.
screen, but it's like it's a bunch of like I don't know. It's a lot of tracks. If you look at like all the tracks,
Oh, holy shit.
they're all the same.
That's
I
hilarious.
tried listening to it. They released. I'm glad they released onto MiniDisc for I think it was MiniDisc Day 2022.
Wild.
And it was I just bought it just because. But another one, I think this one is also. I mean, this is Hotel Pools. Like I think it.
Oh,
it
I didn't
looks
know he
good.
released on the.
Yeah.
Wow.
Roach got me this one. Shout out Roach Corp. He got me this.
Shout out
Nice.
Roach Corp. Love
I
that guy.
love it. I think it looks very good on MiniDisc. Like there's nothing on the back.
Yeah, it does.
Just very.
It's a great album
very
too.
cool. But this is another one by Underwater Computing. I'm a big fangirl of Underwater Computing, but this one.
They really do
wow.
have nice
It's like a
visuals.
Gundam.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's
Almost.
amazing. And, you know,
Yeah.
I didn't know that was UV printing was the printing that you do directly onto the case.
Yep.
And like that was the first thing I noticed when I'd gotten the Lipstick Elite mini disc was that it was printed directly on the case, and I was like, oh wow,
Mhm.
I thought it was
So
the
that's
case.
that UV printing you were
Yes.
referring to.
Yeah, so it's not stickers. They use UV ink and they use a laser to cure the ink onto it, but it looks.
Oh, that's too cool.
It's like the best way
cool.
to release onto MiniDisc. It's very expensive, so that's why a lot of smaller labels will do DIY. They'll just print like a regular label instead of doing UV printing. UV printing is like it really makes it. It really makes the format like
It really does.
pop out instead of just a sticker, in my opinion.
Hell yeah. Love that. Thanks for sharing. Lux has a great question. For a MiniDisc noob like me, how do you record tracks from your computer onto a MiniDisc? Is there a USB connector?
Yeah. So it's
There
you
is?
use USB Mini B. If I'm wrong, I'm going to
Okay.
be reamed out on the
I think that's the one that like PS3 controllers. It's kind of like tall.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. But you record it. You can plug it to USB. It does require a ZADIG driver onto Windows. For Mac computers, you don't need a driver. It's literally just plug and play. And then you just go onto web.minidisc.wiki and you record straight from any Chromium browser. You can even do it from an Android
Wow,
phone.
you can do it from your web browser? That's fucking insane.
Yeah, so the old way of doing it was on Sonic Stage, and that's a really not great software that Sony released. There was also a rootkit released with that. So yikes.
For Sonic
But-
Stage. Yes.
But you know, that project was started by somebody else, Cybercase, and it was, it started out as a project from him, and then our developer Asivery, great guy. He's started looking at the project, got really into MiniDisc, and then figured out how to reverse engineer and make web MiniDisc better. Because our fork is a fork from the original project. But you can record from any browser. I'm sorry, any
unreal.
Chromium browser.
That's
you can't
badass.
do it from Firefox. I don't.
What's that link again?
Web.minidisc.wiki.
Web.minidisc.wiki will allow you to write directly to a MiniDisc. All right, I linked that in chat. That's so badass.
Yeah.
Smooth Brain, what has been your favorite interaction when giving someone a MiniDisc?
Oh, my favorite interaction. I think it was the time I had given Eptic his second MiniDisc. Eptic is a really popular dubstep producer, and I gave him a MiniDisc like 1 year. Actually, you know what? I gave a MiniDisc to somebody. They gave it to Eptic. I didn't get a chance to meet Eptic, so they traded my candy or my disc and gave it to him. And then the next year, when
That's
I saw
special.
him again in Pittsburgh, I gave him another disc. He's like, "Oh my god, I still have it in my bag to this day. I just carried it around.
No
It was so
freaking
cool."
way.
I was like,
so
"Oh my god, you
That's
remember?"
special.
But yeah,
That's
somebody.
so cool.
I didn't even get a chance to like see him like at do a meetup after the show. And somebody I had given a MiniDisc out to that night had then given it to him, and he was just like, "Whoever gave this to me, you're like fucking amazing." And I'm just like, "Oh my god."
I have no
So that
less
was
than
probably
like
my best
4
one.
from you. An I2K one, a new Virtua Keiko one, an Electronicon 4 one. I think you did a Midwest Aesthetic Summer Synapse one.
Yep.
Probably another one that's just escaping me, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
so iconic and special. Hopefully you don't like lose a lot of money making those and giving them away.
No, it's actually so thankfully because you can buy them in bulk in Japan.
Oh, that's good.
I just import them from Japan
Oh, sick.
through Bai. It's a proxy. But yeah, usually a disc is about $1 a piece.
Oh,
You
easy.
buy them in bowls, so they're not that expensive.
But you also
and
print those like labels, and it's really high quality too. And sometimes you put like a little sleeve.
Yeah. I usually just do like the front and then sometimes the back. Usually, if I make a mix, I try to like include like what's on the track. Because
Yeah.
I realize most of the time when I give out these discs, they're probably not going to listen to it. But I hope that they do.
The sad
Hopefully
fact is
they-
I don't have a way to listen to mine, but they're in a very
Yeah.
special place. I
Yeah.
have them on my like wall of cool things.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, I mean if someone's gonna make a mixtape of like a show you played, that's
Yeah.
real special, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very personalized, you know.
Yeah.
Arasaka Racing asked if there was a MiniDisc Discord. Lux helpfully linked it many times, but we've been itching to ask you about the whole story behind that Discord. If you want to talk about that at as great a length
Yes.
as you want.
Really
Yeah.
want to hear
what that was like blowing up.
So, so the way this whole thing started was, there was a forum. I'm not gonna bad name them, but it was a forum, and they were sort of like the last place really that people were talking about mini disc in 2020. This was like right before the pandemic.
I see.
And the site was having a lot of issues, a lot of like it kept going down, and the main site MiniDisc.org, which is like the one that everybody usually refers to, like that was MiniDisc.wiki back in the day, but it hadn't been updated since 2004. So
Wow,
and a
that's
lot of
wild.
the information, it was run by one guy, and that guy went off to, remember those robots? It was featured, I remember online as Tech Tips. It was like a little round robot, Jibby. I'm sure I'm butchering that. I can't remember, but he used to run that website minidisc.org, and then he went on to that. But anyway, sidetrack. Yeah, the site kept going down, so we were just like, we're kind of worried that the information for minidisc was going to be lost, and Karen started taking a really big interest into it. I'm like, this is really cool. So the website originally was called minidisc.xyz, and that didn't really do well for SEO, so we changed it to minidisc.wiki. And the pandemic happened, people were really exploring physical formats, and I don't know what like took off. I know a lot of it was My Pet Flamingo also starting the first mini disc day, and it was just
they
timing.
started MiniDisc Day.
Yeah, they started mini disc
I
day.
did not know that.
Yep.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah, and it just sort of took off from there. It's been crazy. But yeah, it all started because a website, we were just afraid of like losing information online. It kept going down, and
so you wanted to preserve that,
yeah,
kind of curate
that.
Yeah. Good on you guys. Well, thank you for that. Now, do you want to tell us a little bit more about like the Discord server, or like, because you got a very sizable server that you moderate.
Yeah, that's a responsibility.
So
like how that grew, what you do, etc.
Yeah, thankfully we have like a pretty decent team, and like the community is actually very nice. We don't have to do a lot of moderation. It just seems like the MiniDisc community is very welcoming. I'm very appreciative that it's not very gatekeepy. It's not like a lot of like retro communities are just like, oh, well, you don't know about this format, you're dumb, and it's not, and it's
like
never been like that.
Communities.
Yeah, and it's very welcoming. It's very like, oh, I found this format, like my dad had it, or I found it at Goodwill. I'm curious about this format, and everybody's so helpful and willing to teach people. And I don't know, it's sort of self-governing. We really haven't had to do a lot of moderation. It's just sort of, the community's just so nice. And
it is
I'm
so
really
like affirming when you meet people that have the same interests as you, and like they're just like, oh dude, like what's your favorite, whatever. Versus like it's always fucking weirded me out when I would go, like I would be younger or whatever, I'd go to a show, I'd be like, oh my god, like what's your favorite, I'm here to see Broken Social Scene, what's your favorite song? And they'll be like, ugh.
Oh, I'm
a bigger fan than, I've never understood like when people like you want to geek out with them
people,
and they're like, yeah, like I've never fucking understood when people are just like, ugh, I'm a bigger fan than you, or just fucking whatever weird.
Yeah, I don't.
Shout out MiniDisc community for being so welcoming and not gatekeepy.
Yeah, it's been fantastic just to see how everybody's so willing to help like new people. They're like,
that's great.
There's a lot of confusion. Like, what is a mini disc? Like, how do you record it? And I'm sure that the same questions get asked many times, like in a week. But people are so willing to answer those questions, and obviously the wiki's there to help you if you have any further questions. But yeah,
well, that's really good that you created that resource for people. Keeps people engaged, keeps them passionate.
Yeah.
Lost Traveler had a great question. How did you feel? I'm paraphrasing a little bit. How did you feel when society stopped using mini discs?
Well,
the thing is, I came on the rebirth of it, so I can't say that I know what that
part of the rebirth of it, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So I do find it sad that we sort of moved away from that, but it was sort of, I think that's it's just like how technology was progressing. It was just like, well, now we're going to jump fully into digital. And, I do find it just a
That
little, a little sad that I wasn't there to like experience it when it was like a thing. But I'm grateful now that I can use it, like, use it now better than I could 2004, for example.
Right. Hell yeah. Hydroplane into a false reality. Hey, I've been wanting to start collecting mini discs. Any advice for finding a good mini disc player that won't absolutely assassinate my wallet?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah. So, we actually have a whole guide on this on our wiki.
Oh, too
It's the
cool.
Amazing.
getting started guide. There's also a guide for buying in Japan. I would say if you're looking to get into mini discs and you don't want to like break the bank, a good way is to look on the Japanese proxies. You can import. It is expensive to ship, but the prices are generally lower than what you would see on eBay. A lot of times on eBay, they're just like flipping.
Oh yeah, they know what they
stuff,
have.
but importing, like you can get like a huge lot of just like used mini disc players, and sometimes you'll have duds, sometimes you have ones that are perfectly fine. Japanese have a different like standard of quality when they say it's a junk device.
Yeah.
Usually it just means it's untested, but definitely checking out the Japanese proxies and checking out our getting started guide and the buying from Japan guide. Best place to do
Hell
it.
yeah. Lux actually linked the Buy from Japan guide. Shout out Lux.
Woo, thank you,
Incredibly
Lux.
helpful resource. Her and the Buy from Japan guide. Damn. We got one more question, and then I'm going to ask you also to ask some more. Brady Anderson, Yesteronics, how many mini discs do you have in total?
Oh, jeez. So I know, like, I want to say a year ago, I imported like 300 discs just specifically to give out at shows. I want to say I
Wow.
probably have 50 from that, and then my own personal collection, I probably have like 50 like UV printed.
Wow.
Oh, very
discs.
cool. Love
but
that.
I have a rule that if I'm gonna buy, like, especially a UV printed disc from somebody on Bandcamp, I have to like the whole album. That's my own stipulation. I have to like every single
Okay.
track.
Wow.
There's been times where I
Wow.
really wanted to buy a mini disc, and there was just like one song that I just couldn't do, and I was just like, damn, if it was only that one song.
Do you like every song from?
I have to like every song. That's just
So
like,
you like every
That's
song?
really
Let's see
picky.
the album. That's awesome. That's great.
That is really awesome. There aren't,
Oh,
look, I'm notoriously picky. There aren't very many albums that I like every single song. There really are not. But there's a few.
yeah,
And-
like there's
and-
just some that's just like I don't fuck with it, and then I just like, ugh, it ruins the whole
I
thing.
am
I'm
so
just like,
picky,
well,
dude. A
Yeah.
unskippable album to me, I have to like 75% of the songs.
Wait.
yeah.
Neon Pine Small says even the poop shitters.
Yeah,
Oh,
even
you
the
know
poop
what? You
shit.
got me there. You got me there. I can't. That one
Yes,
was.
I liked every single
The
fart
poop
sample.
He got you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was
good.
that was the stipulation.
That's a really
to my
special
rule.
one.
But
Though.
it-
That was. There's always an exception, right?
Yeah, I was just like, because like I couldn't hear what was on it when it was released. Like you could only listen to
Right.
it on the disc. So I was just like, I have no idea what I'm getting. And I got it. I was just like, I kind of regret this, but it's a meme. I find it funny.
Yeah. Is there one mini disc that you don't have that you wish you could have gotten, or do you want?
Oh,
Great question.
You know what? No, but I do have a few like where I'm just like, these are like my holy grails that I do have, which is
Ooh.
Floral Shop.
Okay.
Mine.
And
This
and
is
Okay,
a.
that actually
the-
is like
That's so cool.
I
that's
shouldn't have this. So first off, this is a very like it was a underground Discord that was making and reprinting these,
Whoa.
and so
Whoopsie done.
because it's not like an official.
Also, it's a
pressing
boot,
by Vector
still
yet,
really
yeah.
badass.
But it's
But-
difficult to get.
But I have
I
like
mean, it's still
three.
badass.
I have like
Um,
3 iterations of Floral Shop. So I have this one.
Wow.
I have this one,
Oh,
which is
wow.
by
Oh, that's cool.
who is it by? Which label? I'm drawing a blank. I can't remember. I'm so sorry. Whoever I know it is. I'm drawing. A
Oh,
blank
you
in
sound
this
like
one.
me.
So I have like 3 versions.
Oh, that's too
like,
cool.
Yeah, of like the same album. But yeah, I have like, I don't know, like I have all of them that I've wanted. There's also another one which I don't have, which is a pressing disc, so it's like the older style. It is South Park's soundtrack of their
What?
For the
movie.
movie?
Yes.
The
Unreal.
movie's bigger.
I paid $100 for
You paid
it.
$100 for the
Yeah,
South
well,
Park
I
movie
mean,
soundtrack on MiniDisc?
Yes.
That's
really wanted to
unreal.
listen to
Yes.
Blade
So
Canada,
Sky
I mean,
Yamaha actually asked a great question. Please tell us an album you like every song from. Is it the South Park movie soundtrack?
That one I got because it was just like, that was like the only pressed disc that I have.
Sick.
One that I like every song of, let's see. I really like, oh gosh, where is it? You know what? Notorious Secrets album that he
Oh,
released.
shout
on
out Noto
MiniDisc.
Man.
Yeah, Secrets of the Night. This one's not. See, this one's just a sticker.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I love his work. Shout out Noto. But yeah, Secrets of the Night. Y'all should check that out.
He gets a lot of love, and he deserves
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
What a sweet
very
guy. I'd like to bring up something, and y'all keep the questions coming because we got our questions answered. Now we need a fresh batch. We had talked about who you feel like we should bring onto the show. Who are some guests that you think we should bring on the show, or just like in general, people that you think that should get a platform on Hot Takes?
Yes. So that would be DBI. I hope that they
Hell yeah.
come on soon. Wink, wink, maybe. But they released on some MiniDisc.
Oh, sick.
This is
Love
yeah,
DBI's work.
This is their album, Reconnect. It was released onto music website. So, and also shout out to Tez X. I got
Shout out
both
Chris
of them.
Burden and Vitesse X.
Chris,
Yeah.
Oh, Vitesse
got-
released on MiniDisc? Nice.
Yeah.
Got some
Oh,
strong women in Vaporwave on MiniDisc.
Yes. She released 2 albums onto MiniDisc, and I feel
Well,
like
Lux, Sky, you know what to do.
yes, it's great. I love anything. Anybody like wants to get into MiniDisc and like release new stuff onto it, like new labels. Like it's really exciting for me to hear that they're like music websites interested in releasing onto MiniDisc. George, if you're out there, come on, man. We gotta release that.
You got to get with the MiniDisc.
Come on, please.
Come on, George. Come on.
Please.
Yep.
Get that new album
He'll
out
listen to
this
you,
TV, girl.
Skelly.
Come on. You and the TV
Any,
girl. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So, any other people that you think that we should bring on the show? Who do you think are?
Let's see, another person. I mean,
I know you mentioned. I believe his name is pronounced Daweed.
yes, from
Yep.
Underwater Computing.
You
yes,
voted Underwater Computing, so
I did.
You get them on.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is very comfortable with speaking English. I've never met him, but I love his work. So yes, that would definitely be
yep.
another one from Underwater Computing. Another one. I know this is. I know you mentioned it before. Was HKE. I mean, that would be. That would
HKE,
be an
if you're
interesting
listening,
conversation.
come on our
Yeah,
show.
David.
Yeah.
Triton, if you're listening and you have an in, get HKE on our show.
He doesn't. He asked me if we could
Oh,
get
he's
him
all
on.
talk, huh? I got you.
No, he asked me if we could get him on. No.
What?
I was like, nah, I can't. We don't know how to get through.
Yeah, we got to get that guy on here. Hell yeah. Keep those questions coming, guys. Tiff, how do you organize your work in your with the MiniDisc.wiki? How do you balance that out with
What is your workflow? How do you do
Uh,
that?
well, not very well.
Oh, you had me fooled.
No, like usually when I'm like, if I want to like record a mix for an upcoming show, I'm so bad at this. I kind of record it like the night before, and then sometimes I'm like putting labels on the disc before I go to the show. Like I'm sitting in my car. I can't tell you how many times I've done that.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, I'm not very
A procrastinator, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no disrespect.
Bad with that.
Some people work best
it's
under
worth it.
pressure.
Yeah. I don't know. I just I do that, but I try to set a time where I'm like organizing my discs like physically, because I have a really bad habit of not putting stuff back into the cases. I don't know if anybody else has that problem. They're just like, I listen to a disc and I put it on my my shelf, and then like I have a stack of like the cases and
Oh, that's funny.
the disc itself.
Well, thankfully,
So
like the mini disc isn't a thing. It's not like it can get scratched or anything.
No, and that's great, but like cassettes. I
Felt.
do have a few cassettes. I don't listen to them that often, but the ones I do try to be mindful and put them back in the cases, but that's like the hardest thing.
It's hard because you want to move right on to the next thing. You're like,
yeah,
oh,
right. You're just like
my flow of enjoying the medium art.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, super reasonable. What is a piece of art that you think exists only for commercial or non-artistic purposes?
Art that exists in commercial or not. I'm not sure if I understand that question.
So, like, what would be like a piece of art that you feel like is just not like like only exists to sell things? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not even like existing for art's sake, just for commercial reasons. I'm gonna get a hot take out of you tonight.
Who's disingenuous? Like, what's disingenuous art?
Yep. Like the pictures of like tomatoes on a subway wall, you know, that sort of thing.
I mean, I think that Araska Racing is answering this pretty easily.
I feel like Taylor, like going back to the Taylor Swift conversation, that that cheapens it, like the physical media where she has like a song and like 5 different versions, like a demo.
I feel that. Yeah, re-released albums. Yeah.
So many artists now do that, where they re-release different versions of the album over and over and over again. That's like
I remember
the way
Strip
they make
Silence was mentioning that she tends to do that when other people are dropping new art, so she could be like, I'm back up on the charts again. You know.
Yeah, and like it's great that she's figured out the answer, like, but I feel like it sort of cheapens it, and
yeah, I agree.
Maybe it's not really all her decision. I'm not Taylor Swift, but
I mean that
music is art, right? So if you have like hundreds of variations of it, it's sort of, is it special anymore?
Well, I know.
That's fair.
I actually did attend the Eras tour, and it was a pretty fantastic show.
Really? Okay. Hey, I mean, the girl can sing, the girl can dance.
Can she dance?
Can she?
She can sing, write lyrics.
I assume she can. I did not attend the Eras tour. Can she?
I don't know. I had a friend who had tickets.
Will she be at Lost Lands?
Will she be at Lost Lands?
See you there.
Except Taylor Swift with all the dinosaurs and whatnot.
Right.
Oh yeah, God.
Great question from MP3 Neptune. What's the best way to display mini discs? Do specific shelves exist for mini discs?
Oh,
do you store them in a more DIY way?
Great question.
So I have, there's just all kinds of different ways to display it. There is the ones that I have like they're like sort of like storage shelves, but they pop out. There's a little button. It's HIPC, but they're very hard to get. I paid like way too much for a bunch of them, but that's a good way. I know that a lot of people do like 3D printing. There's a whole community on like the 3D printing websites where you can get like little displays. There's also
3D printing websites are crazy. I gotta get on those. That's how our buddy Dreamcastle got his Lego head, and now they have display cases. I gotta get it.
The store was it Daisio? They have a lot of like stuff for a mini disc, like for storage.
Hell yeah!
Surprisingly, it's like the perfect fit. They may not be purposely for mini discs. Some of them are, but usually in the those stores you can buy a bunch of like little boxes and whatnot. But there's many ways. I mean, if you have a 3D printer, you're print to your heart's content. Really, it's
fair. You can make anything.
Our 3D print. I need to talk to someone who knows about that stuff.
Maybe I'll 3D print myself a house.
I feel that.
Roche Corp, banger question, a trademark question. Any new or up and coming vaporwave artist you've been fucking with lately?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Let me see. Who have I been fucking with lately? I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know. I feel like the last like couple months I've been out of the loop with vaporwave. I feel like I've been focusing more on like dubstep. That's just because Lost Lands was coming up and I was trying to see who's there.
Any new vaporwave like at all you've been listening to?
Gosh, I'm trying to think. Oh no.
It'll come to you later, and then you'll be like, "Oh no!" and you'll want to do a whole bunch of like Blue Sky posts. You're not on Blue Sky yet, huh?
I was actually looking about making an account, because I probably should just to get the username.
Yeah, I gotta do that.
Hey, no rush. I was just, we've pretty much migrated over to Twitter. At least I definitely have with my personal.
But
so
I'm starting to get old. I might just be able to retire from the internet altogether soon. Aside from hot takes, Instagram.
You're at the point where you don't need to promote anymore.
No, I just am at the point where I'm too old to care to do that.
Right.
No, I definitely do need to promote. I'm not, but
I'm joking, buddy.
You get to a point in your art career where you're like, I don't care
Blue
anymore.
Sky is popping. Not to turn this into a conversation about that, but we're new there, and I already get 2 to 3 times the amount of engagement that I do on Twitter.
All right,
and that's including the fake bots.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how it's gonna turn out. I don't know. Is Blue Sky the answer? I don't know. I feel like this is the opportunity.
I'd love to
move
see you
away
there
from social media in general and get
what? That's a fascinating point right there. That this might be the time when, when we started the internet, when we all started the internet. No, but when I remember being very active on the internet towards the late 2000s, early 2010s, this is a lot more freedom. It was a lot less corporatized. And more we've moved into it, the more it's become another monoculture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do remember it's just the internet used to be the Wild West, and now it's I know what's going on the internet. Those are the top streamers. This is the top websites we use. And I do see people moving more and more away from internet culture, whether they're getting into things like mini discs and also getting into just the physical things, you know what I mean, and activities.
Yeah.
And this is the opportunity now that it's been being brought up by all these billionaire assholes, and maybe we just why don't we just move away from it and get back to reality again?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I feel like this is the if you want to disconnect from social media, which kind of doesn't really help me trying to get the word out. But if you want to get out, this is probably the best time to realize: do you really want to continue with social media? Do you need it? Is this something you really need? I mean,
it's also become oversaturated. Where it's when I go on social media, it's well, now if I don't have 200,000 followers, I don't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Used to be.
Where Discord is the way.
Yeah, you know what?
It's people just being with their friends planning things.
Discord does have communities in it. It is not it is not so the force of the popular people being the most important people.
There's no algorithm. No, I mean, I'm sure we're all being watched and our shit is being monitored, but
it seems to be groupings of communities and fandoms and and they all develop their own little ways that they organize the communities, and it seems to be better than just the big Instagrams or Twitters. You know what I mean? Where it's just you are unless you're some kind of big force of nature and you've paid for a bunch of followers, and you're not going to get any kind of it's not going to take you anywhere basically.
Yeah. Well, I do want to go back to Rose's question about what is my favorite, what artist been fucking with, because I'm just looking at my Bandcamp. I would say it was released early this year, but it's the Lone Ranger by That's Matt.
Lone Ranger by That's Matt.
I love That's Matt.
That's Matt's great.
I miss you, but yeah, that one.
He's such a sweetie pie.
I want to also say Dated New Aesthetic by Windows 96. The song on there, it is Feel Brids. I think that's how you pronounce it. I love that song on there. Feel Brids. It just
nice.
It there's chirping on it, and it goes on the beat, and it's just I love it. So that would be the two. But I definitely get back into vaporwave, listening to it more regularly, because I have periods where I'll just I'll do dubstep for a couple months, and then I'll switch back to vaporwave.
That's so interesting.
Dubstep. It's because those are the main two genres that I listen to. I sort of pigeonhole myself into those genres, but there's a lot of variety where I feel like I'm not bored.
They're very different.
Yeah,
they are indeed.
They're different, but they're the same, especially the communities.
Yeah, Discord dubstep fans are comfortable with noise.
Yeah, Yeah, there's definitely overlap, but I feel like there's not enough like vaporwave and dubstep
Oh
enjoyers. I know
no,
that everybody always
not
says like
much.
And rail.
In
in
rail.
rail, but I mean, I don't know. I find personally I find a lot of similarities between like how people connect like at shows and how
Oh,
people
that's
because they're
cool.
both like internet genres, right? If you think about it,
You're
dubstep
right.
really
You're
got
right.
popular
You're
on
right.
the internet, like the early 2010s, and
Mm-hmm.
so did
Right.
vaporwave.
Yeah.
I was watching an interview with Flux Pavilion
Ooh, Flux
yesterday.
Pavilion with that guy.
Oh, I
Oh
love
wait, where
Flux.
actually Flux Pavilion? You know who's very good friends with Flux Pavilion, right?
Mean
Mean
Curry.
Curry.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he just the sidebar on that. He he was talking about like it was like how there's like new like genres, like new like in music, like big rebirths of like music every 20 years. And I feel like both dubstep and vaporwave both had similar like they both like peaked in like 2012 to 2016. They both and then they both say they're dead. People say the dubstep is dead. People say
Oh,
the
do they?
vaporwave is dead.
How
Yeah,
fun? Yeah.
because they're like, well, Skrillex is not making dubstep anymore. It's dead. And I find so many similarities because it's like it's gone underground. It hasn't reached the mainstream anymore. Both dubstep have had the same trajectories where they're like very mainstream. People know about them, and then they sort of like go into underground, and the fans that really still fuck with it are still listening to it to this day. Like Lost Lands is huge. It's like it's
Right.
dubstep Disneyland, and it's my favorite festival.
Dubstep Disneyland.
And I get to connect with a lot of people like who listen to the same weird internet bleep bloops. Like it's the same thing with vaporwave. So.
Well, there was a great question asked, and I don't want to skip the question Lux asked, but real quick,
Yeah.
somebody asked what your favorite dubstep/EDM artists or tracks are.
Yes. So
Put us
back
on.
to Flux Pavilion, which it's so interesting because Flux Pavilion's he used an alias called Flexiverse on Mean Curry's Helios 3 live stream.
I just put that in the chat too. That
Yep,
Yeah.
was in
he did.
Helios
He
3.
did play Helios 3.
And the connection between the two is that Mean Curry did Flux Pavilion's visuals on his tour. So they connected and
That's so insane.
And it's interesting because the project that Flux Pavilion released, it wasn't dubstep. It was very ambient. It was very interesting. It was not what I was expecting from him, but it was like 5 a.m, I think, because I was watching the entire Helios 3.
Wow.
Just
Yeah, that was crazy. He did that.
It was
Pretty
yeah,
badass.
it's like my worlds were colliding.
Can't wait for Helios 4.
I believe I had a set in that. I did so many. I think I had a set in there too.
I think I did too. I can't remember.
I can't remember now. It's too many of them.
But
I know I did because go ahead.
But since Fluxiverse was his alias on the Helios stream, that's actually been the name of his last 2 EPs, Fluxiverse and Fluxiverse 2, which just Fluxiverse 2 just came out about a month ago. It has like Cyclops,
Nice.
it has Wooly on it, some really really great tracks in there. But it's a throwback to how he was on Mean Curry's stream.
That's too cool.
And that's what named his EPs is Fluxiverse. So I'm just like,
oh, cool. That's so funny.
special.
And only people who watch Helios would
know that.
Fun.
Who else?
Love it.
Who else? Let's see. Ray Volpe. I'm a big Ray Volpe fan. I mean, he got popular with like Laser Beam, so that's like a very big one. But I've followed Ray Volpe for many years, probably like before he even blew up. I have like pictures like every year. Unfortunately, not this year at Lost Lands, but every year of like since 2019, I've like had a meet up with them and took a selfie, and I update my Facebook.
Yeah,
profile
I've seen the
with it.
pictures. You look so happy.
Yeah, I love Ray Volpe. He's such a sweetie, but he's blown up. He's like he does a lot of he does melodic dubstep, but lately in the last like, couple years he's been doing a lot of like your more traditional bro stuff, which is always a crowd pleaser. But like to vaporwave, obviously one of my biggest, one of my favorite artists would be Luxury Elite. I love
Hell
Lux.
yeah, we do love some Lux.
We love Lux. We love Lux.
Yeah, yeah. You always go nuts whenever you see her.
Maybe don't
who maybe don't like a lot, who like Rez, which is pretty close to you know.
Yeah, Res is good. I saw her at Lost Lands 2022. That was a good set. Trying to think of other ones that I really fuck with hard. Cyclops, he's starting to blow up. He's got a very unique style. Um, I recently saw him opening up for Wooly on his tour, so that was fun. But so Cyclops, I didn't get to see his set at Lost Lands. There was conflict, so I missed him. But I did try to see him when he played here in Pittsburgh recently, so that was cool. There's a lot of, I would say my two biggest, my favorite artists for dubstep is Flux Pavilion and Ray Volpe. They're sort of like the old school and
Very
then the
cool.
new school.
Flux Pavilion is pretty, you know, that appeals to I think a lot of different people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he makes very pretty
I mean,
music.
I'm very not in the know, but I've even got some Flux Pavilion tracks that I like.
Stop sampling the Kanye song.
Well, yeah, that's where he blew up, was the I Can't Stop, and Kanye West, used that. He sampled it.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So, and it was funny is that I Can't Stop song wasn't even like a banger until like 2 or 3 years later after it came out. Like,
I know, right?
Don't you love how that happens? Like, I remember when Home Resonance blew up, and I'm like, oh, they picked that song? Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of the album's good too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what other vaporwave artists do you like though? You mentioned our dear Lux, but who else?
I really love Fortune 600, which I think is a throwback to Fortune 500, Lux's label.
Interesting.
They're a Russian artists, but they have a lot of like they use a lot of Russian samples. For some reason, I just really love Russian music mixed in with vaporwave. It's just got a very melancholy sound, and there is a song. Let's see if I can find it. There's a song by Fortune 600, which is called "My Lovely Slutty Bitch" in a Menthol Haze.
Sounds like a Phoenix number 2772 track title.
Yo, that's funny.
Well, the name is a little vulgar. The music is very beautiful. It samples a Russian song by Nisi, and it's very melancholy, but it's like, I love that song. It's so great.
There's a lot of melancholy music coming out of that country, man. There's some great witch house.
Like the whole land of like the wave genre, so like it's very melancholy.
Oh yeah, wave, witch house. That's where Capo Blanco's from. His shit was not melancholy at all.
I love Witch House, by the way.
You do?
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Badass.
You know I do a Witch House party, right?
Oh, I know. I really did. If you do a Witch House show for, Terminally Chill or whenever the next show is, I'm definitely going to be there.
You've heard my most recent album. Clearly, I'm going to be doing more Witch House.
Yeah. There's, I was looking at my, I downloaded like a YouTube, it was a YouTube playlist. It was by Gabriel Blackwrist, and it was a whole, Witch House mix. Unfortunately, that you can't find that mix anymore, but I just did like a YouTube MP3 or something, and I listened to that a lot. It's like it's very similar to like sort of dubstep, like IDM.
Deep bass, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just kind of noisy, kind of foul sounding.
Yeah. But I also, Shiro, I really liked your mix on the most recent Big Raid.
That's so kind of you. I really appreciate that.
I love that. That was great.
Oh, thank you, buddy. It's a couple Salem tracks, another lesser known Witch House artist, and a bunch of wave. So that's very kind of you. I really appreciate that. Lux has a great question. Question Strip Silence likes to ask. Rank the three in terms of importance: track title, album art.
Oh, this question.
Love this
question. So, what were the three?
Track titles, album title, and album art.
Album art. Okay, let's see. I'll rank them from importance for like one.
Yep.
One
What's
is, like,
most important out of those three?
Album art would be number one.
Knew it was coming.
Yeah, because I feel like that, I don't know, we're monkeys, right? We're like, I want something colorful, I want something that stands out to me.
We are monkeys. This is true. I agree. I agree strongly. Yes.
So yeah, I would say album art would be one.
Thinking we're smarter than we are.
I don't know, track title and album title, it's sort of like equal. But if I had to choose, I would probably I put track title because I feel like that's the mood you're setting, right? You need to you need to know like what you're getting into.
I do agree with you about that.
And album title, which I would rank 3, it's like the general mood of the album. It is important, but I feel like track title, like if you're an artist and you're like, what do I name this? I feel like you are focusing on what mood it gives you. Either you're taking from like a lyric from the sound from the song, or just a mood or whatever. If you're doing like a concept album, which is very popular in vaporwave, you want to make sure it correlates to the sound of the track. But album art's definitely the most important.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think
you gotta have something that grabs you.
Very important. You're right. I think that I know I put a lot of thought into them too, and why they are, and when they all come from they all usually come from a different reason,
Yeah.
So it's true. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Great question from KJ Valium. Let me scroll up so I can read it right. He wanted to know if you had a specific opinion on. Oh God, where is it? I'm sorry, I didn't pin it. What's Short Stepp's take on bro step versus British dub?
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, for just so that if people aren't really familiar with what dubstep is or the different subgenres, bro step is like Americanized dubstep. So it's like it's your Ray Volpe, it's your Excision, it's your Wooly. It's that very.
Would that be like rhythm, kind of?
No, rhythm is. So rhythm
Please help the audience understand the difference, because they're gonna have questions.
So rhythm is more sort of like I almost want to say the same note. I'm not personally a fan of rhythm. Rhythm is great, like sprinkled in, but it's hard for me to really enjoy a whole rhythm set. I've been to
I gotcha.
a handful
of shows. It's good, like in like little doses.
Yeah, like I feel like I get tired of the same like beat. And so with bro step versus British dub, I guess British dub would be more like Rusko and I'm trying to think,
like the early
like
guys.
Caspa.
I like Rusko a lot.
I like Caspa and Rusko for sure.
They're good. It's just British dub is not. It's not as poppin' as it used to be. Like when
had its moment.
When bro step took over, that was it. Like it's when like dubstep artists, they mainly tour in the US because it's so popular here, even though like dubstep and jungle and garage and two-step and all that started over in the UK. I don't know, it just sort of died over there. It's not as poppin'.
Well, over here it's like almost like rock and roll over the American version of it, which is great. You know what I mean? Which I enjoy a lot. To me, I'm always surprised that there hasn't been a lot of crossover between like traditional hardcore music and dubstep music, because the breakdown in hardcore is when they slows it down. It's the same rhythm as dubstep, and that makes sense too, because they both share a previous musical progenitor, which is like reggae. You know what I mean? That's like. That like the breakdown in hardcore music is just like a reggae, and same with the dubstep. Like it's all coming from reggae, hence the name dub. You know what I mean? This is where it's all coming from.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Reggae.
I could see
and
that.
Obviously, hardcore has its share. With it's coming from like punk and the intermixing of ska and punk. You know what I mean? Like, and reggae. Like it all comes from reggae music. That's where the rhythms come from initially, and that's why whenever I go to like a dubstep concert, I always find that like I can actually start doing hardcore dance moves during the music. Like it actually lines up. It's the same musical progenitor.
I like to see that.
You line up. So it's funny too, because everybody's headbanging, but I can still do some of my old hardcore pit dance moves. That looks so cool doing it. But I do a little more rhythmic, less violent version of it, and then the kids dance along with me, and I feel like I'm cool, even though I'm like old.
But age is just a number. I mean, I'm 33.
But you can do like
still going to raves.
You can do like the two-step,
the
two-step of like hardcore dance to the dubstep when they do the breakdown, because it's the same breakdown as in hardcore music. Yeah. And that's come from reggae kind of. So yeah.
There's definitely a way to dance to dubstep. I mean, it's for me, it's a lot like headbanging and stuff. But there's also, which I noticed, like like in the last couple of years has really gotten popular is headbanging with other people, which is like you grab somebody's hand and you both go down on the beat at the same time, and it's
That's
very
cute.
fun to like
That's
dance with
special.
people. So it's not like it's not like all headbanging on the rails and mosh pits, which it is, but like getting to like dance with people, just holding their hand and just going down on the beat, and then like after the beat's done, you just like hug it out, and then you just go back to dancing how you were. So
You
it's
can definitely floor punch to dubstep music.
yeah. But going back to the question, like bro step versus UK dub, I mean, I'm an American. I like bro step. I feel like it's more. There's a reason why it's
Fun.
more
It's
popular.
lively.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fun. It's fun. It's not. It's very fun.
yeah.
Particularly live.
So fun.
It's fun.
Love
It's
it.
just fun. Fun is the most important thing, in my opinion.
Well, man, we are down to the last couple minutes of the show. Believe it or not, it's over. So this is the part we like to give you we like to give you the spotlight, let you platform anything you want, shout out or promote, or just say anything you want to anybody.
Yeah. So, obviously check out MiniDisc.wiki. It is the premier website for anything MiniDisc, and it's a great resource. It's all user generated content, so anybody can set up an account and add stuff if you find something that's missing. Because it's run by a small team. I can't do everything. I can't add all 2,000 plus different models and all the manuals and whatnot. So please, if you find something online, you're like, hey, this is missing or this is incorrect, please do it on the website. We greatly appreciate it. You can also check me out on our Discord. We have links on our website or our homepage. You can check me out on Twitter or X if you want to call it that. It's all minidisc_wiki. We also are on Instagram. And if you have any other questions, you can also email us at admin@minidisc.wiki. Usually we get a handful of people asking personal questions there. If you have any updates or there, but best way to contact us would probably be on the Discord. So yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, Oomfies, hit up Short Stuff and minidisc.wiki.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, you were delightful. We really appreciate you taking your time to educate us and to do all this curatorial and archival work. It's crucial to the scene, and your dedication does not go unnoticed, and we respect it very much. Skelly, what do you got coming up in your universe?
What do I got coming up? Well, I guess January 31st at Underground Arts is going to be the party, which is called Salvation, which is upside down because you're seeing it this way, but you get the idea. And that is going to be 2 rooms. One room is going to have like traditional goth music, 80s, 90s stuff. And then the other room is going to have witch house and dark synth and wave and funk. And I think you probably know which room I'll be DJing.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
That one. So that's Salvation, and that's going to be January 31st at Underground Arts in Philadelphia. Yeah. And then, of course, Death Romantic. I think there might be a couple more overstocks that just became available. I don't know. But I think
there was like know. One disc, or I'm sorry, one cassette left.
There's one cassette left. You might want to get it. It's really cool. Just look at this like fancy blood print stuff all over it. How fun is this? The little,
wow.
This is very cool.
Love that.
You can see there's like a little kiss right there. Isn't that cute?
There's like blood splashes and like little kiss marks.
And it is now. And since the initial run sold out, then the minor restock sold out. So now it's on. I put it on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. You can listen to it there as well. And go look at Don McLennan's Twitch to catch the replay of Vaporade for me and Mr. SHIRO over there in our sets that we did. I wasn't able to be there live because I got sick, but so I just real quick set up a rig and did a live performance of the new album in my room with a bunch of lights. I learned to program stage lights for it. Not the best, but I did a little bit. And you can see me playing bass and samplers and DJing too at the same time. So pretty cool. I think that's it for me. All right.
That was badass, dude. Yeah, so I just linked the highlighted VOD again. Shout out Don McLennan quiz and all the people who came and helped him, like Luxury Noise and Fiber and Discoholic and Roche Corp and all those people that showed up and helped, and Sarah and all those people that were there. I'm probably forgetting, people B and PJ were there. I was so jealous I couldn't be there. I also performed. I did the aforementioned 20-minute Wave and Witch House set that Short Stuff talked about. So you can check it out on that VOD. And I've also got it up on my YouTube with visuals courtesy of I think it was Yesteronics that did my visuals. Yesteronics Lightcraft. If I'm fucking that up, man, I'm embarrassed. But I think it was Yesteronics. And then and they did a fantastic job too. And at the end of the day, it was just a very special event that they raised $5,600 for the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund too. So
pretty
badass. But yeah, if you like Wave and Witch House, check it out. Got a set coming up for Vapor Rays. Vapor Rays is going to be on at the December 14, twitch.tv/Utopia District at 1 p.m. Eastern. Pretty great lineup that I don't think has fully released yet. But I got a 30-minute Neo R&B set. I've been talking about this one all year. It's really good. Just locked in Dreaming Diary on my visuals yesterday. So shout out Dreaming Diary was on our show. Used to go by Digital Sex, right? Great guy. Stepped up to the plate.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show. Great artist. Lovely guy. So that's Vapor Rays. That's December 14, 1 p.m. Eastern. And then got a set that I just put away maybe a few weeks ago for an upcoming event that wasn't released, and I was afraid to tease it because I didn't know if it was allowed. But Saturn Foo's putting together a event. It's called Foo Fest. Shout out Saturn Foo. So Foo Fest is coming up. We just don't know when yet. And she's keeping a lot of the lineup a secret. But I put together 20 minutes of cloud rap and just vapor trap stuff. Got some great funk that you would probably like, Skelly. A lot of Memphis rap influence stuff. And
very excited about that.
Yeah, man. Figured I worked a Grayscale soundtrack in there. Just some good stuff from early 2014. Dream Catalog Vapor Trap era. It's gonna be good. Shout out Saturn Foo. I think that's all I got. Yeah, the set's gonna be good. A lot of good like Memphis rap type shit. I think that's it. So we will be back in 3 weeks instead of 2. Our next guest will not be able to join us on the 9th. So we're going to take an extra week off, push Hot Takes back to 8 p.m. December 16th. And we'll be bringing DVI on the show. So very excited to have a very, very skilled visual artist and musician. DVI is coming on Hot Takes, y'all. Check out the MiniDisc.wiki project. Check out Short Stuff. Buy MiniDisc players. And be sure and just join that Discord server. If you're still a little unclear about how to write to MiniDisc, join the server. Ask her. And of course, if you feel like you want to, you can donate to our show. You can jump in our Discord server. You can follow us. You can check out our Spotify playlists. You can check out the full Twitch VOD of Vaporade. And you can buy shirts with designs courtesy of the very, very skilled Bfant. Also, check out me and Skelly on socials. We're decent people. We got some good stuff out there. We can put you on. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, guys. We're going to run... Yeah, check us out. We're going to run the ad for Late Arcane's upcoming live stream event one more time. But thank you guys for being in here, and we hope you all have an awesome night.
All right. Bye.
Have a good night, guys. Thanks for having me on.